Hello, and welcome to the Sarah Seams podcast. This is episode 42. My name is Sarah. I'm coming to you from Columbus, Ohio, where I live with my partner Troy and our cats Alex, Moo, and Elsie. Today is Sunday, April 27th. I have to check my notes. I can never remember the date. April 27th. It is a beautiful spring day here. It's in like the mid 60s. The sun is shining. The sky is blue. It is very beautiful. That also means there might be some neighbors doing yard work. There is stuff going on at the house. So if you hear any background noise, I do apologize for that, but please bear with. This is my crafty corner of the internet where I share all about my making projects. It's mostly knitting, but today we have a little bit of spinning and actually a little bit of embroidery as well. I also like to sprinkle in some sewing and quilting. Anything fiber arts related is fair game. And this podcast is going to cover everything that I have been working on in the month of April. So I post a video almost every week on the channel now. So throughout the month, I will post shorter, like 10 to 20 minute videos on Fridays. Those are my Friday fiber chats. And this month I talked about baby gift knits, which you're going to see some of those today. Spring and summer tops, kind of reviewing my spring and summer tops that I've already knit. And I also, I missed a week because I wasn't feeling very well, but I did do a community post about a charity I'm doing some volunteering for called Knitted Knockers, where you can knit like prosthetic breasts essentially for breast cancer survivors. So if you're interested in that, I would direct you to that community post to learn more info or just check out their website, and I can link that below. And then just yesterday, I posted a local yarn store day video. So Saturday the 26th yesterday was local yarn store day, and I was able to make it out to 4 of my local yarn stores here in Columbus, Ohio, and just film a quick little 15-minute video kind of showing you what the stores look like, what kind of selection they have, and then what I purchased from each store. So if you're interested in any of those videos, I'll link them below. Feel free to check them out. And I do have a playlist as well for my Friday Fiber Chat videos. So with that being said, you can find my Ravelry, Instagram, and email in the description box below as well if you are interested in following along or need to reach out to me or just want to chat. Find those in the description box below. And I think that is all the admin. So let's dive into it because I have a lot to share today as usual. I have 11 finished objects. I have been knitting up a storm this month, so a lot of finished objects, and I have 8 whips to share with you, as well as a couple acquisitions and some chat at the end. So let's jump right in with what I'm wearing. This is my first finished object, and it's also my first finished spring and summer knit. So I will put a little video in here of me wearing it so I don't have to get up and down, but this is the Stripey VT by Hannah Singleton. And the yarns I used were a combination of 2 different Rowan yarns. So the darker raspberry color is Rowan Creative Linen. That comes in a 100-gram ball. And it is 50% linen, 50% cotton. And I'm not sure, what is the colorway name? It is color 00631. The lighter purple that I used is Rowan Cotton Cashmere. This comes in 50-gram balls. It's 85% cotton, 15% cashmere. And so yeah, there is, it's mostly plant fiber, but there is a little bit of animal fiber, that cashmere in the lighter purple yarn. And I decided to stripe them because I didn't have enough of either to make a garment on their own, but I think they do look really pretty together striped. At one point I was afraid it was giving Cheshire Cat, and I do kind of think it gives that vibe, but I think the irregular stripe pattern kind of helps to mitigate that. I was kind of debating if I wanted to do even stripes or uneven stripes. I went with the uneven stripes, and I'm really glad I did. I think it adds like a little bit of fun to the design. Overall, I would say I'm mixed as to whether this was a successful project or not. As you can see, the V-neck is very deep. I don't think I could ever wear this without something under it. Like right now, I'm just wearing a dress under it. And I think that looks okay, but you can definitely see quite a bit of whatever you're wearing under it. It is a little bit bigger. Maybe I will end up standing up just so you can see. It's quite a bit bigger than I guess I anticipated, even though I am spot on for gauge. So I don't mind how oversized it is. but it is definitely big and oversized. I think I notice it more like here in the raglan, that it tends to do that kind of fold, which I don't always love, but it is very comfortable. It's very easy breezy. I could see myself throwing it on like this over a dress to go out and like do some stuff in the yard. I like to wear these like simple linen dresses just like around the house or out when I'm doing yard work. So I do think I'll get some wear out of it, but I don't think it's like a complete love. I don't know that I would knit another one in this size. I would consider knitting a size or two down for like a slightly more fitted top, but overall it was very simple to knit, which I enjoyed. It has pretty minimal finishings. The hem on the bottom and the hem on the sleeves are just a rolled hem. You just bind off knitwise. Actually, I think in the pattern it calls for I-cord bind off, so I just bound off knitwise and let it roll. I did do the I-cord bind off around the neckline, which I think does look nice. I definitely could have knit some ribbing or like more of a knit out and then have a rolled hem if I wanted to bring this in a little bit. If I knit it again, I would consider doing that, but overall I think it was a fun, quick knit to start off the spring knitting. I'm pretty happy with it. I think the colors are pretty. I like the random stripes. We'll see how much wear it gets. It's machine wash and dryable, so that's nice. And yeah, I would say a success, but not like a raving success. All right. Next up, I have 3 finished pairs of socks. So the first ones are Troy's spooky socks, like Halloween socks as I've been referring to them. They're these really fun black and white speckly guys. I feel like the pattern is so striking, the sock just kind of like disappears. Like all you see is the pattern, but they're just a basic vanilla sock. I do think the yarn is nicely dyed, like the effect is very evenly distributed, which is nice. The yarn is You Socksy Thing Base by Pearl Talk, and it's a merino tencel nylon blend, so they have a little bit of a cooler hand, and the color was Zebra. So as I've talked about in previous episodes this year, every time I finish a pair of socks, I'm knitting a tiny version too. So here's the tiny version. Got a little bit more pooling on the tiny version, but that's okay. And then at the end of the year, I'm gonna make like a cute little garland of all the mini socks around the holidays. So those are Troy's spooky socks. Next up, I'm working my way through Summerlee's book, The Sock Project. And right now I'm in the DK weight sock section. So I have a pair of shorty DK socks. I think these were cast on and off since you would have seen them. So this is a really fun yarn from Hedgehog Fibers. I think I got this in a D-stash. It's their merino DK, so it's 100% merino. But it does say machine washable, so I'm assuming it's superwash. And the color is mulberry. So yeah, these are just really fun. They did some really interesting pooling. We've just got a 2x1 cuff, a tiny bit of leg, a short row heel, the foot, and then I did add in a little pop toe just from a mini that I had in stash. So I think these turned out really fun. And here is the mini one, little mini DK guy. The pattern I'm using for the mini socks is the Tiny Tree sock, also by Summerlee. I did have to adapt it to use DK weight yarn, but that was not too hard to do. Okay, and last but not least, I am also doing Summerlee's Colorwork Cuff Club this year. So I've been working through those as well. And this was a really fun one this month. So when you think April, of course, you think April showers, right? So that is what we had. And these also, I think, started and finished since the last podcast. So you can see there's this really cute little rain cloud motif. So I've got this kind of stormy gray, just some yarn I had in stash, a cream and then a navy, and then alternated the cream and navy for the foot. I think the cream is Knit Pick Stroll Bear, undyed. I can't remember the gray, and the navy is actually a Wandering Flock single. I don't remember the colorway name. I wouldn't normally use singles in socks, but I thought in this case, since it was just for the stripes and a little bit of the color work, that would be okay. So I did finish these. These are for Troy. I think they're super cute. I did do 66 stitches for the color work, and then I decreased to 60 stitches for the foot. Really fun. And here is the mini version. not messing with any color work, just did that gray cuff and the stripes. So really cute. I'm very pleased with those, and I'm excited as always to see what the design for the next month is going to be. I'm assuming if we had April showers, maybe we're going to have May flowers, but we will see. Okay, next up I have a bunch of baby knits. So if you saw my Friday Fiber Chat video from this month where I was talking about planning this little baby capsule wardrobe, Troy and I are expecting our first niece in June, and I really wanted to knit this little collection of baby knits for my future sister-in-law and their baby. So I started with, and I should say the yarn for these first 3 projects is Knit Picks Swish DK, which is 100% superwash merino wool. I started with the Little Brothers Romper by Petite Knit, and at first I had a different pattern in mind, so if you watched the Friday Fiber Chat, you will know that this evolved, but I started with the Little Brothers Romper by Petite Knit, and it's so cute. So here it is. And I also cross-stitched a little pumpkin on the front because the nickname for the baby right now is Pumpkin, and it is going to be, well, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say the gender, but, well, I already said niece. It's a girl. The nickname is Pumpkin. And here it is. I just think it's the cutest thing. So this romper was super fun to knit. I would definitely knit this again for future babies. You start bottom up, you knit the back panel and then the front, and then you have this little garter edging, which just kind of prevents it from rolling. You knit the body, and then you knit the top, front, and back separately, and then you knit the little straps. So the straps are attached with buttons. They are functional. The pattern also calls for buttons here, but I decided to use snaps instead. I just thought that that would be a little bit easier, and my buttons were a bit larger, so I didn't want bulky buttons down here where like the diaper is going to be. So I thought snaps would be easier and just look a little bit cleaner and maybe not draw as much attention to that area. But yeah, so I finished this and then I cross-stitched the little pumpkin on it. I think it's really cute. I'm very pleased with how it turned out, and I really hope they like it. This yarn also machine wash and dryable, so I did check this in the washer and dryer and it turned out great. It definitely, it takes on a little bit of a fuzziness after you wash and dry it, but I think for baby knits, it's very important for them to be machine wash and dryable. So overall, I think it's gonna be a great yarn for that. So continuing with the pumpkin theme, again, this is Knit Picks Swish DK. The colors here are Forest Heather and Allspice, which really fits the pumpkin vibe. I wanted to knit a little pumpkin hat, so look at this. It's so adorable. This is not blocked. I'm not planning on blocking it. I think for baby, it's fine. So yeah, how stinking cute is that? This pattern is the Sweet Pumpkin Hat by Drops Design. It's DK weight, as I said, and it actually took a bit longer to, this is the smallest size. It took longer to knit than I expected because this rolled brim is like quite long. So it's knit bottom up. You knit this chunk of stockinette to make this kind of chunky rolled brim. Then there's a broken rib texture. And then this is really clever. The decreases kind of, there's like a tiny bit of color work, and then the decreases kind of mimic that like greenery at the top of the pumpkin. And then there's just a little bit of an I-cord stem. So I thought this was super cute. The pattern was pretty simple and easy to follow, very enjoyable to knit, and it'll go so well with the little pumpkin. I can't, it's too cute, this baby stuff, man. I foresee I will be knitting baby knits for like the foreseeable future. We're expecting a lot of kids in the friend group, so the baby knits are gonna keep on rolling. After I knit the hat with the leftover gray yarn from the onesie, I knit some little baby mittens. Not the most exciting thing in the world. I did think about adding some embroidery or something, but ultimately I decided to just keep it simple for baby. So these are the teeny tiny knit mitts. And I'm sorry, I cannot remember the pattern designer's name, but I've made these before. They're a great simple pattern. Just this little tiny mitts, no thumbs or anything. And then there's an option to attach them with an I-cord. When I made them before, I chose not to do that, but the feedback from my friends was that they got lost very easily. So I did attach the I-cord this time. And I do think it's nice because you can just kind of put these through baby's jacket, and then if baby takes them off, they're just kind of hanging out there instead of getting thrown or lost or whatever. So yeah, some really simple teeny tiny knit mitts. And one more garment. I wanted to knit a little cardigan, so I found this really cute garter pattern. This is the Pansy cardigan. Again, I don't have the designer, but I can put it on the screen here. So stinking cute. So I used Knit Pick Stroll Tweed for this, which is fingering weight, so I held it double. The color is Down Heather. I just can't get over how cute it is. I think the little collar is adorable. It has a raglan detail. The buttons, it's the same buttons I used for the romper. I just think it's so cute. These are all pretty neutral colors, you know. I feel like unless you can really have an idea of like how someone wants to dress their baby, I felt like it was probably safer to go pretty neutral, more like kind of classic fall colors. So I just thought this was really cute and would go with everything. The sleeves have a little cuff at the end, so as baby grows, you know, you can make them a little bit longer or shorter. Here's the back. This one was a joy. I would definitely knit this again. It was just like so simple and easy to knit, really enjoyable, and I think makes a really nice, cute finished object. So tiny, so cute. And there's one more that I'm almost done with, which I will talk about in whips. All right, I have one more knitted finished object, and then I have a couple of hand spun things to show you. So one more garment, and this is a big one. I wasn't necessarily expecting to finish this, but I did decide to kind of power through and get this off the needles, and I'm really glad that I did. I have to say it's another, like, I'm mostly happy with it, but I wouldn't say that I'm in love with it, unfortunately, even though I think it's gorgeous. So this is my Bergman pullover by Caitlin Hunter. I do think the yoke is stunning. I love how it turned out. So the yarns that I used, the purple variegated yarn is Spin Cycle Dream State. I cannot for the life of me remember the color name. I had originally purchased this to make Andrea Mallory's Rhinebeck sweater last year, and then decided not to do that. And I got rid of the ball bands for some reason. So I want to say maybe it was like Syringa or something like that. But yeah, it's really gorgeous. It kind of fades from gray to purple to black. There's some brown and navy in there as well. I do really love it, especially the more like vibrant purple sections. And then the main body yarn is Cascade BFL. It is 100% Blue Face Leicester, and I don't know if the colorway is on here. I do not see it. It just says color 4, but it is a very light purpley gray, and I just kind of happen to have that in stash. So I did decide to add the color work at the bottom as well, which I kind of went back and forth about, but I think it's really cute. And then I did also add it on the sleeve. So I decided to knit it true to pattern. I think it's so beautiful. The fit is where I'm not so sure. So I'll put a video in here of me wearing it over this same black dress. I think the yoke fits pretty well. Overall, it did come out significantly smaller than it should have for the size that I was knitting. This is definitely my own fault. I did not do a gauge swatch. And I think that the Cascade BFL that I used for the main body was definitely thinner than the recommended yarn. So mine came out like 4 or 5 inches narrower in width than the size that I was going for. So as you can see, it's definitely more on the fitted side, which I don't mind, but it does impact how I will wear this. I'm definitely much more likely to wear it over a dress like this than I am to wear it with like a skirt or pants or something that's going to be kind of cutting me in more at the waist. I would want it to be like a little bit more of a relaxed fit, like how I've styled it in the video. So that limits me a little bit. And it's just a little bit out of my comfort zone with that fit. I do still think I'll wear it. I think it's, as I said, stunning, and I love the colors. I don't really have anything else in this color palette, but it's not gonna be, I mean, with this striking yoke, it's not gonna be a sweater you wear all the time anyway. You know, it's already, to me, kind of a special occasion sweater. You wear it a couple times a season maybe, as opposed to wearing it like every week. But it was so fun to knit. I would really recommend it. I think it's just so striking. The color blocked out so well. My only other fit complaint is the neckline is pretty high and tight for my preference, especially in the front. There are short rows, as you can see, the back is lifted, but it does hit a little bit higher on the neck than I would usually prefer. I think if I were to knit it again, not that I'm necessarily planning to, I would consider just starting with like an I-cord and then going right into the color work, because I think that would be gorgeous too and give a little bit more of an open neck. And if I find that I'm not wearing it, I honestly might just go back and do that. I might just pick up stitches and rip out the neckline and put in an I-cord instead, or like a little rolled neckline or something. So we'll see. Obviously too warm to wear it now, so unfortunately it's going to kind of get packed away until next fall and winter, but it gives me such like ski bunny vibes. Like not that I ski, but I could see myself like hanging out in the lodge, like wearing this. I think that is the vibe. It has like winter activity feelings to me. So I do think we'll see how I wear it next year. If I'm not getting a lot of wear out of it, I might try altering the neckline in that way, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, really happy to get this one off the needles. It was a pretty long-term project, but I really did enjoy knitting it. I'm glad I added all the color work and used up as much of the spin cycle as I could. I did have quite a bit left over, but that is okay. Yeah, also the other fit thing is just that this is a true round yoke. I think they don't always have quite the best fit on me. I did knit the body a little bit longer on this one, and that helps to mitigate the kind of pulling up that you get at the sides sometimes on a circular yoke, especially like in blocking if you stretch it a little bit, but it does still have that circular yoke fit that I have found is not always the best for me. But all that being said, I'm very proud of this one. I think, you know, I knit the Alpine Bloom by Caitlin Hunter a few years ago, and to this day, that's one of my makes that I'm most proud of, and I think is the most beautiful. And I kind of feel the same about this one. I think it's one of the most beautiful things I've made. I'm not as happy with the fit, but I still think it will get somewhere. So that is the Bergman by Caitlin Hunter. Sadly going to be packed away until next year. All right, let's quickly look at a couple Handspun Skains. So I have a subscription this year to the Kira Wiggins Fiber Club, and I finished the second skein. So they're coming a little bit later. So we signed up in January. The first one didn't come till like the middle or end of February. So it's kind of like a month offset. So I'm considering this, sorry, I had to grab a drink of water there. I'm considering this like the February skein, but I have not yet received the third one that I would consider like the March skein. So it's on its way. Hopefully it's going to come this week, but regardless, this is the second one. And I decided that I'm just going to spin them up as I go throughout the year. And then at the end of the year, when I have 12 50-gram skeins, I will knit some kind of color work or striped sweater with them. So really excited to see how they all go together. But yeah, I'm doing the 50-gram bat subscription. So got the bat, spun it up, and here is where it ended up. So this one was really pretty. It was called Deep Fudge. It's this really dark chocolatey brown. It's Shetland, and then hopefully you can see it has little bits of like teal and purple, and it also has stellina, as well as like a black and white tweed. So there's kind of a lot going on in here, but it made for a really fun spinning experience and a really pretty finished yarn. I ended up with 52 grams, so slightly over 144 yards. So I'm calling her sport weight, which is what I got for the January skein as well. So I think they will go nicely together. That's kind of the weight that I'm going for all of these. So yeah, that's Deep Fudge. Very pretty. And I also I did quite a bit of spinning this month actually. I also finished the next skein for my big handspun project I've been working on, which is spinning for the Night Shift shawl by Andrea Mowry. I'm spinning 6 different 100-gram skeins, and I finished the 4th one. So I don't have the ball band for this off the top of my head with me, but it's really, really pretty. So all the yarns I'm using for this spin are 100% Targhee. They are all from Fat Cat Knits, who is on Etsy. And this one I believe was called Nebula. So it's got those teals and berry colors, but also those kind of lighter corals. darker purple. I think it turned out really, really nice. I haven't done the final yardage calculations for this one yet, but I'm guessing it's around a Sport to DK as well. That's kind of where all of those have ended up. So I have 2 more skeins to spin for this project, and then I'll be ready to knit. So I think I'm gonna try, and I'm not gonna save them for Tour de Fleece, but I would like to be done spinning for this project by the end of Tour de Fleece in July. So I might go ahead and get started on the next one, but the goal is to finish spinning for this project by the end of Tour de Fleece in July. And I would love to start knitting this and possibly finish it before October. Excuse me, every time I start talking, I get the hiccups. Anyway, I'm planning to do the West Knits MCAL again in October, so I would love to maybe at least start, possibly finish this before that. So we'll see. I might not get to it, but this has been a long-term project, so I'd love to get started, and I just can't wait to start knitting it and see how all the colors work together. So one more look at it. That is Nebula. It turned out really, really pretty. I think it's a little bit more loosely plied than the other ones. I was having some technical difficulties with my wheel, but I still think it turned out really nice. So that is it. That's it for finished objects. Only like 11 or 12, no big deal. Let's go ahead and move on to works in progress. Okay, let's start with sock whips as usual. I have 3 to share with you today. First one I'm keeping in my Line Study Textiles bag that I got at Indie Untangled last year. It's so gorgeous, one of my favorites. And this is a new pair of socks for Troy. So I am knitting him the Oxbow Socks by Andrea Mowry. I knit these last fall as part of her like weekend sock knit along around Thanksgiving. It was super fun. I really liked the pattern. And these are the yarns I'm using. Both are leftover from other projects, and they are both sport weight, so I'm doing the sport weight version. There's also a fingering weight version in the pattern. This rusty color I used to make a hat for Troy last fall, and there was plenty left over, so I thought I'd make a pair of socks as well. And then this really pretty blue is some leftover magpie fibers from the other pair of Oxbow socks that I made for myself, which were entirely in that color. This is a Oak City Fibers exclusive colorway that I got in North Carolina when I was visiting Jess, and it's called Happy Day, and it's really gorgeous. It's just that like robin's egg blue with the specks of orange and pink, really pretty. And here's what I have. I've just finished the cuff on the first sock, so I'm going to be using the blue for the cuff and the toe, and then the rust is going to be the rest of the sock. So this one is ready for a heel. And I'm knitting size small in these, so that is, I think, 56 stitches. This is kind of my on-the-go sock knitting right now. I really like that pattern. It's like a simple kind of broken rib. It actually has the same stitch pattern that Andrea Mowry's new Come Back Again has, if you saw that, which is also gorgeous. I'd love to knit that eventually. But yeah, just a nice basic sock pattern, but a little interest in the colors and the texture. All right, next is the next DK weight sock pattern from Summer Lee's book. And this is a mohair sock. So I've knit one mohair sock before as a gift for Troy's mom, actually. And she like loved them. She kind of raved about them, but I've never knit any for myself. So I was really excited about these. And the yarn combo is gorgeous. I kind of wish I had like a sweater quantity of this because it's so beautiful. So the main yarn, let me hold this. Oh gosh, now I have to remember which one is which. Oh no, okay, that's, sorry, bear with. Okay, so this is the main yarn I got in a D-stash. It's this gorgeous like pinky purple with speckles of darker purple and pink. And this is from Artemis Yarns, who I wanted to try for years. I think their dyeing is gorgeous, but I believe they're based in the UK, so I've never really wanted to order directly from them just because of duty and all of that, but I happily bought this in a D-stash. This is their soft sock base. It's 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and the color is Good Witch, and I just think it is beautiful. And I believe in the same D-stash, I also got the mohair, which is Hedgehog Fibers mohair. The color is Hush, which this is kind of an iconic colorway from them. Same kind of pinky purple color. So I'm holding those two together for this sock. And like I said, it's it's a gorgeous combination. So let me show you what I have. I'm about halfway through the first sock and I love how it's knitting up. So I'm just doing a 1x1 cuff. The leg is about 5 inches total. Heel flap and gusset. And I did just finish the gusset, so I'm ready to start the foot. And I just think the color combo is so perfect. And I love that like fuzzy halo that you're getting from the mohair. I think these are gonna be so cozy and I cannot wait to have these. Yeah, and that's pretty much all I have to say about them. They're pretty simple, working up pretty quickly, so I'm sure these will be done the next time you see them. And that's the last DK weight sock in that section of the book. So then I think we're moving on to some more interesting like textures, lace cables, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've been working through this book for, has it been almost a year? It's been a while, and I feel like I'm kind of finishing up the like basic part, and now we're moving on to the more fun stuff. All right, let's get that out of the way. Next up is a very exciting sock. The other subscription I'm doing this year is the Wandering Flocks Sock Club. And I did get the first skein. I think I showed that on the last podcast. It is so gorgeous. It's this very light peach, and then it has these neon orange speckles. And this is actually an alpaca sock yarn, which I've not used this base from them before, but it's so beautiful. It is their, what do they call it? Baby Paca. It's 50% extra fine merino, 30% baby alpaca, 20% nylon, and they do call this a sport weight. So I am also knitting the pattern that came with it, which are the Kilo socks by Sari Nordland. So that's the cool thing about this sock subscription. You get the yarn and also a custom special pattern that's just for the sock subscription. And the people designing the patterns are like Sari Nordland and Vera Välimäki. So it's very cool. Coop Knits. So they're like great sock pattern designers. And I would say I'm like maybe almost halfway through this one as well. Definitely slower going. I expect these ones to stretch on. Sorry, to clarify, the sock club is only 4 times a year, so once a quarter. So I'm kind of trying to take my time with these and knit this pair this quarter and then knit the second pair the second quarter, because I do anticipate them all being a little bit more complex as well. But let me show you what I have. So I finished the leg and the heel turn, and this lace pattern is just gorgeous. It kind of looks like little hearts. There's quite a bit of twisted rib for the cuff, and I just think it's very, very pretty. It's fairly simple to knit. There's a lot of central double decreases, which I find can be a little bit tough on the hands, but yeah, I'm so pleased with it. I think it looks so nice in this color, in this yarn. It has a heel flap and gusset, so I just need to do the gusset. The lace will only be on the top of the foot now and then onto the foot. So like I said, taking my time with these, trying to really enjoy them. And yeah, so far I am. I think they're really beautiful. So that's where I'm at with that. All right. Next up, I have my March to May knit along project. I am knitting the Find Your Fade shawl by Andrea Mowry. And I pulled just like, sorry, I don't have enough room on my table there. I just pulled 7 skeins of sock yarn from my stash that I thought worked as a fade. And I have talked about all the colors in previous episodes, so I'm not gonna go through all of them in detail today, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me below or refer to the previous videos. I made quite a bit of progress on this. I think I have 2 colors left, so it's kind of hard to show because it's getting really big. But I am working with the 5th color right now, which is this one. Again, kind of a pinky purple, but there's some spots of a neutral, kind of like a yellow in there. And yeah, here it's very hard to show, but let's just go through it. So I started down here with, this is that same gray blue that I used in my rainy day socks actually that I just showed you. So that, and then we faded in, all the fading happens in these garter sections, faded into this really pretty blue and pink speckled yarn, and then faded into this pretty more neutral kind of tan color. It alternates garter and lace. Then we faded into this very pretty berry color here. Oh, there's yarn everywhere. And then oh God, I really need to put point protectors on this. Then we've just faded into that color I just showed you. So now there'll be some garter stitch in that color and then a lace section in that color. And the shape of the shawl is starting to change now. So for most of it so far, it's been this kind of chevron shape, but now we are not decreasing necessarily. The stitch count remains the same, but the spine shifts. So that kind of creates the triangle point, as you can see here. And then that will, I'm going to continue working up this way, and that's going to kind of build in that other corner. So yeah, I think the fade is looking really good. I mean, it's not totally seamless, but I think it looks pretty good. Like specifically, especially these two colors into each other faded really well. This was probably the most harsh one, but like here too, these two faded really well. So I'm really happy with it so far. It's very fun. It's mostly mindless. It is fingering weight, so it's taking a while, but I find it to be great, like mostly mindless knitting. There's like maybe one or two little things you need to do in each row, but I can definitely watch TV while I'm working on this. So it's been really fun. We're at the end of April, so we have 1 month to finish. And like I said, I have 2 colors left to add in. So I definitely need to keep working on it at a good clip, but I'm not too worried about getting it done in time. So this is probably going to be something I focus on for the next couple weeks, try and kind of get it wrapped up before the end of the knit along. And yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I do like a shawl every now and then just because, you know, you don't have to worry about the fit. You can really play with fun color. And I feel like this has been a great project for that. Okay, next I have the final baby knit in this little baby knit capsule that I'm working on. And this is the, let's see, I have a picture of it. It is the Croissandra Sweater by Nash Knits. And I have to say, I think Nash Knits has some of the best baby patterns out there. I think they're so gorgeous and sophisticated looking. Unfortunately, their adult patterns are not size inclusive, even though they are also beautiful. So I don't anticipate knitting many or any of their adult size patterns, but I think their kids patterns are so cute. So this is the Croissandra Sweater. I'm just showing it on the side because I don't want to show any of the pattern information, but it is so cute. As you can see, it has that little scalloped hem, and the little sleeve cuffs are also scalloped with a little I-cord bow. It is knit in garter, and I made a lot of progress on it. So of course it didn't occur to me that because the body is knit in the round in garter, you're alternating knit and purl. So it took me longer to get through the body than I thought it would, but I did just finish the body and put the collar on this morning. So here's what I have. I'm using this really pretty gray color. The yarn is Brava Recycle from Knit Picks, so it is recycled acrylic. It has a nice hand feel. It's got a little bit of a fuzzy halo. I did find it a little bit squeaky to work with, so I don't know that this would be my like go-to yarn for baby knits in the future, but I do think it looks really pretty in this. It has kind of a shine to it that's really nice. So you can see the scallops a little bit. They definitely need to be blocked out, and it does say that in the pattern. My only concern with that is like, I don't expect the parents to be like blocking this every time they wash it. So when it just gets machine washed and dried, I feel like it's gonna look like this, and you're probably not gonna get as much credit for the scallops. It's still cute, but I will do like a proper block before I gift it to them, so it at least looks how it should when they receive it. But that's something to think about with this pattern. Unless you're gonna block it every time you wash it, the scallops aren't gonna be as impactful, but it still looks really cute. I do think the little neckline is gorgeous. So it's a little ribbed neckline, and then there's a little stockinette rolled edge. I think that's just a really nice detail for this. So I just need to knit the sleeves, and then this one is going to be done as well, and those will all be ready to gift. So the baby shower is May 10th, so I definitely need to get this one done. This is kind of my first priority right now to finish this. Then I'll be shifting my focus to the Find Your Fade. And I should say I'm knitting size 6 to 12 month in this one, because baby's coming in June, but you know, you want to consider like how old are they going to be when they're going to be wearing these more like fall and winter garments. So that's why I'm knitting a little bit of a larger size in that one. I also tried to give a little bit of variety in size in the little capsule, so there's something they could wear right away, and then maybe as they grow they can wear the little cardigan, and then they can wear this little jumper. So that was kind of my thinking with that. All right, just a couple more. Oh, did I miss one? Nope, 2 more, and then 1 cross stitch project. So the next 2 are both spring and summer knits. I'm definitely moving into the spring and summer knitting. I've kind of put a lot of my woolier sweaters on hold. I will finish them, especially my Midland cardigan. I'd really like to come back to that one soon and get that one finished up, but I'm more excited about these right now that the weather is getting warmer. So this is a new cast on. My sister and I went to Chicago a couple weekends ago, and we visited Nina Chicago, which is a gorgeous local yarn store there. And we saw this color of Ritual Dyes Undine. The color is New Growth. It is just the perfect like limey green. It is not a typical color for me, but I thought, you know, if you watched my Friday Fiber chat about reviewing my spring and summer knits, one of my takeaways was that I wanted to use brighter colors. And so I thought this was a perfect way to kind of step outside my comfort zone, try something new. But as I said, my sister also loved this. So I am actually knitting us matching tops. I'm starting with hers and then I'll knit mine. So we got 3 skeins of this, and that should be plenty to make her top and mine. She's smaller than me. So I'm knitting for her size 2 of the outline tank. That's what I'm making for both of us, which is a pattern by Jessie May. I can put a picture of that on screen here. I've knit the outline tee before, and I really love that tee. I love how it fits. Again, I talked about that in my Friday Fiber chat video. And I already had the outline tank pattern in my library. So I have shared that I've struggled a little bit with some of Jessie's patterns in the past year or so, but the outline tee fits me really well. I already had the outline tank pattern, so I felt good about going ahead with it. And I think based on the images, the fit should be fine. At least I hope. So I've cast on my sister's version. I'm doing size 2 for her, as I said. I really love this yarn. I think it's my favorite summer yarn that I've ever used. It is a cotton linen blend. I want to say 60% linen, 40% cotton. Once you get going with it, I find it to be a really pleasant knitting experience as well. It takes a little getting used to, but I think it makes such a gorgeous fabric. This sweater has those drop stitch details, so you kind of mark them off at the beginning, and then you just knit however many inches of body, and then we're going to split for the front and back. So I think the tank should be pretty quick. Right now, I've really only been working on this when I'm like walking on the treadmill. I feel like plant-based fibers are great for that. Like if your hands are getting warm or a little bit sweaty, like a cotton fiber is like perfect for that. So this has kind of been my treadmill knitting. So I haven't spent too much time on it, but it is knitting up pretty quickly, even given that it is a light fingering weight yarn. You can see the fabric isn't like super dense, but it's really nice and summery. And I have to also show you these olive point protectors because I just thought they were hilarious. I also got those at Nina Chicago, but yeah, so I'm working on Laura's version now, and then I will knit one for myself as well with the leftover yarns. I'll probably be knitting size 4 or 5 for mine, but yeah, really cute, really fun. I think this color is like perfect, and I'm really enjoying that one so far. Okay, last knitting whip. This is my entry for Amy Scher's knit along that she's hosting right now. I'm knitting her new Relax tee. Again, I can put a picture of that in here. And I have to apologize in advance because this is in a very hard to show state right now. But I'm knitting mine in Pearl Soho's Santolina. This is some yarn I had in stash. It's kind of like a blue-gray. Let's see. I do not have the bob band. It is also a cotton linen blend. It's nice. It has a little bit more fuzz to it. It's a 2-ply, and it has a very soft hand feel, which is really nice to work with. So here is where I'm at. Again, very hard to show right now. I'm still working on the yoke. So you cast on and just start knitting, and then we'll go in and pick up the neckline later on. Maybe the back is easier to show. And it's mostly stockinette, but it is broken up every once in a while by a couple of garter ridges, so that's a really nice detail. It just has a single raglan stitch, and it is a compound raglan, so you increase at different rates throughout, which makes a really nice fit. I think I'm knitting size 4 in this one. And yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. Again, fingering weight top. That was another takeaway from reviewing all my spring and summer knit tops, was that I needed to knit more fingering weight versions. So as you can see, this was DK. I don't know that I love how it turned out. Both of these are fingering weight. So going forward, I still want to use up what's in my stash, but going forward, when I'm buying new summer yarns, I think prioritizing fingering weight is probably going to be the way to go. But yeah, got a good start on it. Again, slow going. The knit along is like pretty long. I think it goes through most of the summer, so not in too much of a rush, but I'll just keep working on this one as I can. And I am finding this yarn really enjoyable to work with. It feels like it has more flexibility and give than like the Undine does. So if plant fibers tend to like give you a hard time, maybe try like the Santolina, or Kelborn Loans Mohave is another one that has a similar feel, as opposed to like a Sanus Garnline or the Undine that has a little bit more of a stiff hand feel. All right, and last but not least, something different to show you today. I received a cross-stitch kit for Christmas as a gift. It is this one by Junebug and Darlin. So it is cross-stitch, but of course it says knitter. Hopefully you can see that. And it just has like floral and bird motifs. Really, really cute. And I have found myself lately, as it's getting a little warmer, kind of craving something different from time to time, especially like later in the evenings when maybe I've been knitting for many hours already and I just want to do something a little bit different. I have found the cross stitch really nice to work on, and I've taken it to my craft night a couple of times as well to work on it, which is fun. It's just something different, and I think especially at this time of year that can be really nice. So here's where I'm at. Haven't made too much progress on it, but I'm really enjoying it. I kind of work by quadrant, so I'm starting on this part. I've just done the light blue and some of the green so far. Then I'll move on to once this quadrant is finished, then I'll move on to the other sections. That's kind of how I work on it. So yeah, really enjoying it, something different. Junebug and Darlin have like really gorgeous kits. If you are in the market, I would definitely recommend them. And that is it for works in progress. Let's move on to acquisitions and chat. All right, so as I said, I went to Chicago a couple weekends ago with my sister. We had the best time. We were staying with a friend of mine who lives there, and it was great. We had some of the best food I've ever had in my life. I want to give a special shout out to Mira, M-I-R-R-A, which is a restaurant in Wicker Park. It is Mexican Indian fusion, and it was one of the best meals I've ever had. It was just so unique and so different. It's definitely a fancy kind of place, but it was so good. We also went to Super Kana, which is a great kind of Indian Asian fusion place. We had a lot of great Asian food. We went to Kasama, which is a Filipino bakery. Delicious. It has a Michelin star, which I didn't even realize because it's a bit more of a casual place, but best breakfast sandwich I've ever had. So I'd really recommend checking out any of those places if you are in or around Chicago or ever visiting. But yeah, we did go to Nina Chicago one day, which is a really beautiful yarn shop, also kind of in the Wicker Park area or like close enough. And we got that lime green Undine yarn there. I did get one other thing there because I just couldn't resist, which was this skein of La Bien-Aimée sock yarn. It's getting a bit blown out. Sorry about that. It is just a pastel dream. The color is Gyupta, which I believe was one of their like anniversary celebration kind of colors last year or a couple years ago, and this is their merino super sock, so it is a 75-25 blend, and I just think it's gorgeous. So going in the sock yarn stash. I have talked about trying to work through what I have this year. So I'm not doing a no buy or a low buy. When I travel, I love to visit yarn stores and buy yarn. So that's part of it for me. I'm a yarn tourist, so that is an exception for me. A couple other things. Fiber is also an exception for me. I really don't have a lot of fiber stash, so I have 2 more braids that are part of my night shift spin project. and I have my subscription, which I've been knitting up as I get it, but that's all the fiber that I have. So if I want to keep spinning frequently, I kind of need to get some more fiber. So I did buy these bats from Into the Third's Fiber Update, which are this really pretty kind of purpley mauvey color, very on brand for me. In total, it's 2.25 ounces. So I'm hoping I can get like 50 grams out of the finished spin. I'm gonna try for a fingering weight spin, and I would love to knit some socks out of these. Maybe stripe them with another yarn or do like a shorty with a popped heel coat and cuff, but I really wanna try making some hand spun socks. So in here is Wensleydale, miscellaneous wool, dyed alpaca, and dyed merino. So I did think those were super pretty. Happy to support Mackenzie, and I'm really excited to try spinning these up and knitting some socks out of them. All right, one other, there's a lot that's going on. Very sadly, and you might have seen, Brooklyn Tweed has announced that they are no longer going to be producing yarn. And a sweater that's been in my queue since I started knitting is the Wool and Honey by Andrea Mowry. I can put a picture of it in here if you've never seen it. It's gorgeous. It's a circular yoke, but it has this like very distinctive honeycomb pattern that must be made with cables or dip stitches. I'm not exactly sure. And the rest of the body is garter. And when I was visiting Jess in North Carolina last summer, she let me try on her version, and I loved it so much. So I already know I wanted to knit it. Then I got to try it on and loved it. And I really wanted to knit it in the original recommended yarn, which was Brooklyn Tweed Loft. So when I heard that they were going to stop producing yarn, I knew I wanted to buy a sweater quantity of that yarn to make that sweater. So that is what I did. I purchased a quantity of Loft in the color Pumice, which is this classic kind of medium gray from Starlight Knitting Society. They had posted that they still had it in stock, so I went and snapped it up. So not on the docket immediately, but I knew I wanted to knit it in this yarn, so now I have it for whenever I'm ready to do that, and I'm excited that I will be able to knit it in this yarn, but sad that Brooklyn Tweed is going to be no longer producing yarn. I do think they're still going to be working in the knitting space. Like, it sounds like maybe they're going to focus on pattern making or something like that, but I'm glad I was able to snap that up before it went away forever. And then lastly, as I said, yesterday was local yarn store day, so I did have quite a few acquisitions from those adventures. I'm not going to share them all here now, but if you're interested, please do check out that short 15-minute video that I released yesterday. I can link it up here as well as below to see the stores, see what I got there. So yeah, I shared all the acquisitions in that video. And lastly, I got into a test knit. So I know, again, I've also said I didn't want to do that many test knits this year, but I'm really excited about this one. So I applied to test knit the Winnie top. I'll put a picture of it by Lily Kate France. And it's gonna be my first time knitting any of Lily's patterns. I have a couple of them in my library. I really enjoy her style. I appreciate how size inclusive her patterns are. She started making YouTube videos around Vlogmas, and they're really great. So if you haven't been watching her, definitely check out her videos. I'm really excited about this top. I love a V-neck. It's a pretty deep V as well, but not quite as deep as this one, I don't think. And it just has that really gorgeous lace detail around the neckline and the armhole and the hem. So I'm planning to knit this with some Knit Picks gloss that I have in stash, which is fingering weight. It is black and it is really beautiful, shiny and drapey. It's kind of a wool silk blend, I believe, but I need to swatch. The gauge for this is, she knit her sample in Cardiff cashmere, so it's not going to be the same type of yarn that I was planning to use. So I do need to do a swatch and see if I'm going to be able to achieve the gauge with the yarn I had in stash. And if I'm not able to, Cardiff Cashmere is offering testers 50% off for this test. So I'm going to try and still get gauged with the yarn that I have, but if I'm not able to, I will probably end up ordering the Cardiff Cashmere, especially with that discount. How often does one get that? So that is also on the horizon. Once I finish the baby knit, I will likely be casting that on as early as this week. As far as life stuff goes, we've just been kind of getting back into a rhythm. We've been doing a lot of yard work, Troy and I were both traveling in the past couple of weeks, so just kind of settling back in, enjoying getting out in the yard. All the flowers are starting to come up, you know, dealing with weeds, dealing with planting. We had planted a lot of native plants in the beds in the yards in the fall, and then, you know, we're kind of concerned about them over the winter, but happily they are all coming back really strong, so that is exciting. Yeah, just hanging in there. We got a new car, not new car, new to us car. We are buying a Toyota Camry from Troy's parents. That's going to be his new everyday driver, so that was kind of a big thing. But other than that, just kind of doing housework, enjoying lots of knitting time, and enjoying being outside. So please let me know what you are working on or what you were working on during the video. I really love to hear that. Hope you're enjoying the spring, maybe some knitting or crafting outside. Yeah, I just love to hear what you're working on, or leave me a comment about anything at all. I love to chat with you all in the comments. But I will be back next week with another Friday Fiber Chat episode. Not sure what about yet. It'll be a surprise. And until then, I hope you get lots of making time in, and I hope you're able to enjoy some spring weather in your area, or if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, I hope you're gearing up for the fall and sweater weather. So I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, happy crafting. Bye.